Hi everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at 5 knots that every outdoorsman should know. Stick around. Maybe we'll learn something together. When you're learning to tie knots, not only can you look at videos on YouTube, you can look at different knot tying websites, Boy Scout manuals, books devoted to tying knots, but all that is something that you may not be able to have with you in the woods, just in case you need a little reminder. I went to Amazon and found this little Pro Knot tying kit. It comes with these bound note cards. Basically, they're pieces of plastic about the size of an ID, double-sided, have a bunch of different knots on it. Comes with 2 pieces of cordage and a carabiner, and it'll show you how to tie a bunch of different knots. Today we're going to focus on 5 of those knots: the Bowline, the trucker's hitch, the sheep bend, the timber hitch, and the clove hitch. Let's go ahead and get started. A bowline is a knot used to put a permanent loop, well, permanent until you untie it, loop in the end of a line that will not act as a slip knot. It will not contract. So the long way to tie a bowline is to take your cordage, make a loop. There's a little saying that goes with this. It says, make a hole. This is the rabbit. Rabbit comes out of the hole, goes around the tree, goes back through the hole. So you hold these 2 pieces, pull this tight. There you have your bowline. If you notice, the tag end is inside the loop. There's another way to tie that, called a cowboy bowline or Dutch bowline. Tying the Dutch bowline is pretty much or cowboy bowline is pretty much the same. You make a hole on top. Rabbit comes through the hole. Except when the rabbit goes around the tree, he goes around the opposite way. Goes back in the hole. Grab it. And there you have the left-handed cowboy or Dutch bowline. If you notice, the tag end is on the outside. And no, don't ask me why they're called those names. I have no idea. There's an easier way to tie a bowline though. You twist towards you to make your loop, going over top. You fold the loop over, pull it through to make take a bite through the loop. Take your tag end, bring it around, pinch it together, pull this tight. There you've made the bowline. This is a left-handed or Dutch bowline or cowboy bowline. We'll go ahead and make a regular bowline that way. Twist it towards you, pull it over, take the bite, go through and around, pinch it. There you have a bowline. The next knot we're going to take a look at is the sheep bend. A sheep bend is used to join 2 pieces of rope, typically a thicker piece and a thinner piece. In order to tie this knot, take your thicker piece, and then there's your thinner piece. Goes through it, around, underneath itself, and stays on top like this. Okay? Pinch the 2 together, pull it taut. That's your sheep bend. That way, if you have a piece of paracord and a piece of bank line and your paracord's not quite long enough, you can join it. If you don't think that that's sturdy enough, you can tie what's called a double sheep bend. It's basically the same knot, just with an extra turn. So you take your bite of your larger cordage, run your smaller cordage through it, around, under itself, then back around and back under itself a second time. so that it looks like this. Then you pinch the two and pull it tight. And that sucker's not going anywhere until you untie it. Next knot we're going to take a look at is the timber hitch. In order to tie the timber hitch, you come around whatever you're tying off to, loop back around like so. Then you take your free end and you start looping underneath, 5 times or so. Or whatever you have time for, or have room for. Then at that point, you tighten it up, and you can pull on this and really crank it in tight. If you want to use a timber hitch to drag a piece of wood, you come up the log, wrap around, then come back underneath. A bit difficult doing this on camera. And that allows you to drag this piece or hoist this piece of wood safely. Another useful knot for starting off lashings or for tying off to something is a clove hitch. You start the clove hitch by wrapping around your piece, coming all the way around it, wrapping around a second time, and you see that forms an X. Now you want to take this tag end of your rope, come around again, go under where the X's cross, and pull tight. Dress your lines up, and there you have your clove hitch. You could then start, doing your wraps and your lashings. So there's another way to tie a clove hitch. If you're just going to loop it over the end, say you want to run a line of stakes out and secure a rope to it, you can use this method in the middle of the rope. You take the rope, you twist away from you to form a loop, twist away from you again to form another loop, put those loops on top of each other, and slide it over whatever you're trying to tie off to. And there you have a clove hitch. The next one we're going to look at is a trucker's hitch. It's used to secure a load to a trailer or other conveyance, or, and as in this case, to tighten down a ridge line. I have my bowline in the end of my ridge line. I'm going to pass it around this tree. Take a bite of that line through the loop in your bowline. Take a toggle, put it through that bite, and that acts as a marlin spike hitch. And you could tighten that down. Then you run your line to the other tree. Take your fingers, make a loop in the line towards the direction you want to tie off in. Fold it over and take a bite through the loop, okay? There you have this. Now, you take your line, pull it through your trucker's hitch, but now you can tighten this down as much as you want. Okay? However, when you let go, it's going to release tension. But there's a way to minimize that. You take the end of your line and you pass it through this again above your original line. So it looks something like that. Now when you tighten it down, it's not going to release tension. You can crank on it. To finish, I bring it up and under and put a loop in here. It forms kind of a lark's head knot. And I just put a toggle in it. And it's done. When I want to go, take the toggle out, pull this way, and you've undone that double loop on the trucker's hitch. And now, to get rid of the knot, you just pull. And there you go. So I'm Mike, this is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and that was my look at 5 knots that every outdoorsman should know. If you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe. Consider becoming a patron on my Patreon account. And as always, come on back. Maybe we'll learn something together. What you want?